Welcome to storage. Today I have come up with 9 services, as you can read in the title. Before I start this video, I must say a big thanks to all of you. I'm getting a lot of response, a lot of messages, a lot of people are talking, and good that we are working on something where you are getting benefited. People are looking for certification stuff, and you are interested. I am also certified in AWS Solution Architect. And a lot of things are getting changed in 2019, by the way, and I will be updating you with all those details. A lot of interview question and answer sessions we are discussing a lot of topics, a lot of services where all these topics and the differences what I'm discussing, all these are very, very important for interview purpose and for exam purpose as well. So very, very thanks that you are taking interest on these things, which is helpful to you and for me, because I'm learning a lot of things from you guys. When you're asking questions, when you're giving comments, I'm also learning on this. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, to start with the first service, that is Simple Storage Service, S3. When I'm talking about S3, this is the most used service in AWS, and a lot of people who opt AWS usually come because of S3. Very associated service along with it is Elastic Block Storage, EBS. Why you have to discuss these two at the same time is this has a peculiar similarity with these two services. It is very important to understand what is the difference between Elastic Storage and Block Storage. S3 is a block storage, S3 is an object storage, and Elastic block storage is a block storage, as the name says. Now, the difference is object is having 3 things. Object storage must have 3 things, 3 primarily things for to qualify it, or the characteristics of an object. What are those 3 things? Object itself is one of the characteristic. Another is expandable metadata. If this object doesn't have a metadata, it doesn't qualify it for the object storage. Another one, which is primarily important, is an object should have one unique identifier of that object. So S3 is having a unique identifier, it's having a expandable metadata and a object itself. S3 is said to be a durability of 99.99%, 99%. So it's 99999, 9 times 9, you count yourself, that's a percentage of durability. Because it is highly secure, highly efficient to store data as an object. But then, why do we need EBS? Well, what's the difference between a storage and a block? Block, in the contrary of a block is distributes a storage into multiple different parts. It doesn't have one block gets stored and that's it. It's more like a NAS storage. It distributes, it multi-parts the object into a different block and then store. What is the advantage? The advantage is if you are frequently changing the data in an object storage, it changes the entire object. But when you are changing the data in a block, it changes only a part of it and the rest of the object does not get affected. if you're in short, you should understand one thing very clearly. If you're using a data which is frequently is been accessed and changed, you're supposed to use block storage, and when you're storing the data for a long time, or maybe huge data you're manipulating like big data, or stuff like that, then the use case is S3. But when you're using NoSQL, maybe database service where there's a part of a data being manipulated many a times, that is a block storage use case. The next service is Amazon Elastic File System. It is designed to take the workload of Linux file system, where there is much workload, or it's a huge data manipulation is there. What do I mean by this? That if a application is deployed in a Linux system which requires a petabyte of data manipulation in a very short period of time, and it has to be secured, this is the file system. This is the service which you are supposed to use. Linux based, when I'm saying Linux based system, that means what I meant is Linux based system which was on-prem, and that has to migrate it to AWS. This is the service which you are going to use. It's not that, do not misunderstand that it's any file, anything which is there in Linux, you can migrate, you have to migrate in, then this is the service. No, it's not. If the Linux file system which handles a petabyte of data, which is historically in our industry it is true, in that case this service is been used. What if you have to deal data which is a very compute intensive workload? What do you mean by that? Mean is, say for example you had to deal with a machine learning data, or maybe very simple media data like Netflix, or maybe you have to deal with a data which is very compute intensive, like you happen to see a couple of sports channels which telecast the data from the ground to the satellite. Those are the things which you need it, but you need it in a fully managed file service, where you can manage your data, the complexity of the data with huge compute intensive workload. You are actually looking for a service called Amazon FSx for Lustre. Amazon FSx for Lustre is a service where you need, where you are dealing with data like this. There is a similar service called Amazon FSx for Windows Server. Do not get confused with these two. These two are not for the same reason. Before I go to any other service, I must explain you this, because this is a question which a lot of interview people ask, because it's tricky. Say for example, you want to use, you are already having a lot of Microsoft application and servers installed in your system. You are running it for ages and it's running well, fine, but for infrastructure reduction of the infrastructure cost, it's unbearable, the application is killing huge, and now you want to migrate it to a cloud and you have chosen AWS for it. Not that you cannot choose for Azure, you can also choose Azure, but for maybe some architectural reason or something, you have chosen AWS. Amazon FSx for Windows file system is exactly for this. When your application is running in Windows, you have to support SMB protocol, maybe NTFS and your Active Directory, then DFS, all these things which you are historically maintaining in your server, in your on-prem stuff, and it has to go to cloud and you have chosen AWS. This is that service which you are going to use for your convenience of migration. Don't you want to get rid of your tape drives? Does that gives you enough trust that those tapes and the hardware devices where you have stored your valuable data may get corrupted or maybe not been taken care of in a proper way, or maybe you are wasting a lot of money to store that? Yes, Amazon S3 Glacier is for that. It's not precisely. Let me tell you this, because this can affect your cost. Wow, how? S3 Glacier is a place where you can store your data in an extremely cheap price. It's almost free, to be very precise. Let me tell you, it's extremely cheap, but and you have to ensure that you are not frequently accessing those data, because accessing of that data is little costly. So what, and that kind of data is full of in your office. Then the office is filled up with that couple of data which you never use, or maybe use in a year or so, maybe a compliance data to be very precise. You need only before the audit for every year. So why to spend so much of money to store those data which you need it in 1 year? Why not use it, those data, and store them in Glacier? That would help you to store it in a very cheaper way. Storing data in cloud, and remember, you're also operating in cloud, and especially in AWS services, and you're generating a hell lot of data every day. How about backing them up? This is a service which AWS Backup helps you to back up your service data, in the data which are used by your AWS services. How about getting a hard disk, maybe a petabyte of data? You want to send it to AWS data center. You don't know how to send, because if you start sending the data through internet, it may take sometimes days, months, maybe a year. So what is the fastest way of taking those data into cloud? Yes, that's Snow family. What it does is it sends you a briefcase. It's a exactly looking briefcase. It's a briefcase kind of stuff which comes physically at your doorstep. You put data into it, store that data, and send it back to the courier to the AWS data center. And then after a couple of weeks, all of your data is in the cloud. You can use this data in the cloud, just like it's already stored in the cloud. Now you don't have the worry of getting it corrupted or anything. So, and it's so fast movement, isn't it? Last but not the least, what is the way if I have to retain the data on-prem and move the data to cloud gradually, but I need a storage gateway which can cache data locally. I don't have to go always to the server. There can be this kind of use cases. For example, if you're having a how do I say, if you're dealing with a huge number of data which is available in on-prem and server, and you want to have the data in and out. It has to be locally available most of the time. Then you need those data to be have a one way of communication. That is AWS Storage Gateway. Or Storage Gateway gives you that flexibility of dealing with your on-prem to cloud data seamlessly. Do let me know how did you like this video. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like and share if you think it's worth it. I have discussed a lot of interview primary questions and answers. I mean, usually people ask you about the differences. So go about it. If you think seeing once is not enough, go ahead and see it again, because I know it's little bit of a confusing services, and do let me know what are the things you are facing in your work, or maybe you are looking for what are the things more I should concentrate on, and see you for the next video. Thanks.